The guarantees for the development of our people and our state are not the constitutional amendments, but the adoption of the principle of constitutionality and the establishment of constitutional order. Constitutionality implies on the principle of living together in cohesion and forming and implementing a free and sovereign governance system. The present constitutional amendments undertaken by the present ruling system can be called non-legitimate, but are imposed upon the broad masses of the society. It is a tendency of constitutionally ensuring the interests of the ruling minority, and in reality are not driven from and do not correspond to the interests of our people and different layers of our society. I would evaluate it as a regression from the perspective of development of democracy and protection of human rights in Armenia. From one side, these changes restrict the human rights and freedoms of individuals and citizens, also restrict and weaken the civil society, and from the other side, reduce drastically the state's obligations and responsibilities from the point of view of human rights protection. As a result, the majority of people, that is, women, modest and middle classes, and different social groups, will be practically and by constitutional norms excluded from the public governance processes. It will de jure constitutionally represent only the interest of the ruling groups and political parties. As we know, the ruling parties of the Republic of Armenia and parties in general do not represent the interest of the majority of people. They do not possess public premise and constituency, and in reality are anti-democratic from the perspective of their internal governing system. Democracy is not just a governing system. It is not just the parties, the elections, and it cannot be carried out just by imposing constitutional amendments. Democracy cannot be realized only declaring it, and also not just by forming formal institutions or by carrying out formal processes. Democracy is the application of the principle of equality on all spheres and levels of public life and governance system. It excludes any kind of monopoly in any sphere. I would also like to add that during the last 8 years, individuals, citizens, and different social groups in the Republic of Armenia have anchored and built their struggles on the principle of constitutionality. They have taken the constitution as a social contract, as a means and opportunity which gives the chance of realizing and re-establishing their rights from one side, and from the other as a means of constraining and bringing to accountability the public authority. By legitimating these amendments and their application, the civil society will be obliged to apply extra-constitutional methods of civic actions and struggle. Because the civil society has been alienated from these processes and does not accept these constitutional amendments, considering it as being imposed from above against the will, and hence the civil society does not have the ownership of these amendments. This, in its turn, will result in serious and frequent social unrest, disturbances and blows, and in general will be threatening to the social cohesion. As an outcome, the statehood of Armenia can be weakened. So, what should we do? Each of us, as a human, as a citizen, and part of the civil society, has the duty and responsibility of doing everything to make this non-legitimate and anti-democratic constitutional amendments project fail. And we should continue to work towards establishing constitutional order and the implementation of the principle of constitutionality in the Republic of Armenia. Also, all those people and entities, both national or international, which value human rights and democratic principles, have the role and obligation of not legitimizing this constitutional amendment, but to support the majority of Armenian people and society towards the realization of their human rights and freedoms, and to support their efforts to eventually establish constitutional order in the Republic of Armenia.